and it seemed to me that somehow the state of Israel and the state of Levi, when he fell, tripped on the impossibility of allowing the story, when he's carrying the mail and the demands for more story and future, that seemed to be closed off, which would be part of the impossible predicament that you were telling us. I don't know, does that help at all?
It does help, and I think that, you know, it's interesting, the Bataille, we need stories. And there was one moment in the paper where I found myself really digging in on the notion that, you know, narrative is impossible, you know, trauma defeats narrative. And I actually heard Derrida's voice say, therefore it must be told. That the impossibility is the condition of the story, right? And he actually did kind of oddly, you know, interrupt me. So thank you. And so I think that's right. And what I think about the healing, I mean, we have to be a little careful about this because, you know, there are the Roy Schaefer psychoanalysts who think you will only be healed once you tell a coherent story about yourself. And you come to analysis in order to get a story, and you pay for the story, and you leave with the story. Now you have your story, you put it in your pocket, you know, you're coherent, you're in great shape. Okay, so we got to worry about the highly integrated, you know, ego psychology folk who really love narrative and think they're radical and unscientific by virtue of their love of narrative. However, when we think about the archives at Yale or elsewhere, what seems most important, and maybe this goes back to a point that Slavoj is making as well, the story is received. The story is received. The story is held, it's preserved, it's passed on. And I think that there is something about that which does have, as you put it, a kind of quotient of healing. So it's not, the pain's not reversible, there's no redemption, but there is something that is offered or accepted in the receiving of the story. And that might even be more important than the so-called claim of veracity in a strict positivist sense, which is why I like Delvaux's truthfulness over truth in that sense. And I appreciate the point about the foreclosure futurity, of course, that's true.